And a reminder, in 2 weeks, we meet at 4:30.
Jack of all trades.
Trying.
4:30. Beth, Michelle, reminder, in 2 weeks, our meeting starts at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Thank you for adding the PM to that.
I'm gonna need
Commissioner
another
regular
reminder
meeting?
before.
I will too. Meeting's at 4:30 PM.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Meeker County Board of Commissioners regular session Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 to order. Please join me in the. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comment? Hearing none, our board meeting agenda. Andrew, are there any additions to that agenda?
Not today.
Okay, I would be looking for a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
I'll make that motion,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Motion by Commissioner Schmidt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Van Ort seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Andrew, consent agenda.
Today we have approval of the May 20th board meeting minutes, approval of the Health and Human Services County and Hospital accounts payable, approval of an appointment to the Economic Development Authority, approval of 2025 fuel quotes, designating authorization for the MDE Election Identity and Access Management Security System, approval of liquor license renewals, acceptance of a donation of 2 tasers for the sheriff's office, and acceptance of a donation for a Lucas 3 chest compression system for the sheriff's office. Mr. Chair, that is the consent agenda.
Is there any questions about the consent, or is there any item that someone wishes to move to the full agenda? Hearing none, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Samke. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Olberg. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I see, we did get 2 fuel quotes this year. I mean, we've gone a few years where we only had 1, so. It's good to see that we got some comparables anyway in there. And the other thing, EDA Mark Smith there from Darwin, we welcome him back. He's done a good job for us there, so.
And I would
That's-
like to say a thank you for the donation of the 2 tasers and the Lucas.
Yep.
That comes to us at no cost, and that's a good thing. So thank you to those 2. All right, we have a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda carries. Greg Schultz.
Morning, Greg Schultz, Land Use Director. This morning I got asking to increase our tip fees out there at the mixed solid waste and demolition site. In May, this past May, we're notified by Waste Management they're gonna increase our tip fees as of June 1, increasing them by $1.91 a ton. So with that, would like to see our tip fees increase to be above theirs by about $1.09, so $3 per ton, and then also at the same time, increase our tip fees for demolition by $1.49 per ton, and $1 for $80 per ton for out-of-county stuff to stay ahead for the capping fee coming 2029 possibly, so. If you remember last fall, we increased our tip fees by $2 to stay ahead, because Waste Management increased their fees last October, so we increased ours last November. Try to stay ahead of them. At that point, we were ahead of them by about 50 cents. This time, we're gonna be up about $1.09, so.
Questions for Greg?
pretty standard procedure. I mean, we've been, just trying to keep up, basically.
Keep ahead of them a little bit.
Okay. With
Mr. Chair,
that,
I move to approve an increase of the mixed solid waste tip fees to $89.50 per ton and increase the demolition tip fees to $49 per ton for in-county and to $80 per ton for out-of-county.
motion by Commissioner Oberg. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Van Ort. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Speed.
Wow.
Our county administrator, Andrew.
I know we've been here for a while, so I want to get to the chase here.
I know,
I need a coffee.
I don't want to,
I'm at the bottom of the.
Like, what? I don't know.
I don't want to take too much of your time this morning. So with that, just a couple of brief items. First off, you all know this, but for the public, we had a very nice strategic planning meeting last week. Corey's provided the notes from that to our facilitator, Dave, and I expect to see an initial draft within the next couple of weeks. Additionally, I'm going to be working with our Mission and Vision Committee, the volunteers who we, turned their arms a little bit at the end of the meeting to pull some of that together for the board to consider as we move towards finalizing that. As a reminder, AMC has our district's meeting next Monday, June 9th, starting at 8 o'clock. It's in Morrison County, in Little Falls, in their county boardroom. So that's all I have for my.
Yeah.
Who's going to that? Look at here.
I go. Steve goes. Darren, you're going? Cheryl?
Could you send me information on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Andrew,
I'll forward it to
that
you.
would be good.
And then it
It's-
typically goes.
It's kind of good to hear what other counties are experiencing. Andrew will give a report on what's going on in our county. I just thought I'd clarify that, Andrew.
It's implied at this point.
But,
I think it's good, yes.
just for comparison's sake, you hear what's,
Right.
I was down at District 9 yesterday, cause I'm gonna go on AMC, the exec committee, go to a few different ones, so I was at Lake City yesterday, and so it's interesting, cause that southeast corner, a lot of commissioners I don't know, too, you know what I mean, you're not in a lot of committees with a lot of them, and then, Friday I'll be in Fergus Falls for that one. It's interesting perspective on challenges. They got a power line going through that southeast corner too, so transmission lines, so conversations on different issues they have there too, so.
That's all I have, Mr.
that's all you have?
That's all I have.
Goodness.
As I said, I was gonna be brief today.
Who would like to start on our commissioner reports?
I've got one thing, so I may as well start.
Fire away.
We had a strategic discussion, Paul, I, and Andrew and Tina and Kay, about CHB. That's the only meeting that I had, which we'll delve into at the next work session. I think, about what's going on there and just bring everybody up to date. The strategic planning, I thought that went well. Hospital did a good job. It was a good place to have it. It was good. I know we should have those things, and then I dread them. I start the dread about a week before, but I like the way he did this one. I've been to a lot of them with the pads and the papers on the wall, and I thought he did a good job. I was impressed, so I think there'll be a lot of good things coming out of that. Tim, do you feel like you missed the meeting?
Pretty much.
Because you did. Yeah, it was kind of a short agenda.
You approve everything?
Yeah,
Yes.
the consent agenda and the raises on the solid waste. Do we have to have a meeting when it's I'm just,
We have to approve the warrants,
so no matter what, we have to get to
otherwise we
that?
can't pay the bills.
Okay,
And
That's-
the vendors get testy about that.
well, that
I was
makes
gonna-
sense to me.
On the strategic planning too, his paper and sticky notes on the wall was basically all done through email prior, you know what I mean,
Yes.
that data he
A
collected.
lot of meetings and he had a lot.
Which
of-
I like.
Yeah, I like the way he did. I never like them too long. If they're gonna get 8 hours, I'd rather have it 2 half days. Cause you just kinda lose me. Because of my age, I suppose, but
I really liked moving from table to table and getting to know
Yeah.
the department heads a little bit better. I thought that was
I
really
thought
good.
they had some good information, and good input, well run, so.
And to that point too, even being here 6 years, you know, there's still department heads you don't interact with as often as others, you know, I mean, it's just the way it is, so.
Yeah, the team building was one of the key goals that we had with that, and I think that was a
Did you,
successful
do
part
you
of it.
think,
successful.
staff enjoyed it too?
I think so. We have our department head meeting tomorrow, so I'll learn more then.
Enjoy is a strong word, Brandy.
Yeah.
So
I was there.
just following up on Beth's question, when we have such a light agenda, would we have our regular meeting, finish it, adjourn it, and go directly to a work session, maybe has one item after that?
Good idea today.
Is that not,
We could.
That would be a good
We,
idea.
we would have to have a item teed up for that discussion,
Yeah.
which is often the challenge, because you know, the way the kind of the agenda setting process works is tomorrow, we have our department head meeting where department heads and I will talk about the things that we anticipate being on the next agenda.
okay.
And then we always talk about what's coming up for the next work session as well. So it's possible that when we have it's rare that we have an agenda this light, but it's possible that if we have an agenda this light, that we could schedule a special work session afterwards and have another topic for discussion, so.
That'd be something to think about. I guess.
Yeah, we tried to get a couple of different things for today to make the time worthwhile for all of us, and the folks who would have been necessary to do those just weren't available today.
I was gonna say, yeah, you need to do a lot of times a little research and stuff, you know, time, just having a window to
Yeah.
prepare to have it.
Well, I've never seen anything this short in my years, so it probably
No,
won't happen
no, this is
again.
an anomaly.
Yeah,
Let's
that's a
remember,
good idea anyway, Paul.
we're not done yet.
Oh, this is true. Well, I'm done.
Cheryl,
Well, the only thing shorter than this board meeting will be my committee update.
You didn't do
Nope.
anything again?
I did appreciate the strategic planning and I agree with you. I just go, oh, you know, when we had to do those things. But I thought it was valuable for connecting with.
I agree, and I agree with, moving and getting to
Yep.
know all the people.
Yeah.
It's a good
so-
idea.
Yep, so that's,
okay, Darren?
I think it'll be interesting about the strategic planning is I'm looking forward to, and I haven't done it yet, but seeing some of the finished products from other counties, I thought was really helpful and interesting to see just graphically how they presented where they, hope to go. I thought that was really helpful.
I thought the interesting, on some counties, the detail that went into it. I don't think ours will have all of that, maybe, but,
Yeah, I mean, it'll be sufficient for what we need.
yeah.
Yeah, and so yesterday I did come to what was it, the employers meeting with Tessa Melvin. And that was, I'm glad I came, and I just kind of sat in on that presentation, and it was very clear that she's done this before. She's a seasoned, she gets the drill, which was nice to see. And again, that just the fact that it reinforced the assertion during the strategic planning, how valuable having all of these job descriptions and the information laid out, just so that we can be competitive and show the employees of the county that they're valued, and we're trying to do right by them. I just think it's a real positive thing, so, yeah, so that was very good. Last thing I was just gonna say, my, as odd as it is, my wife had a toe infection. What does this have to do with anything?
I'm glad you shared that
I
first.
know, but, well, where I'm going with this, Steve, is that normally we would always just go to the Dassel Clinic and direct it to Hutch. Well, her friend, my wife's friend, says, I'm gonna take you to urgent care, and we're going to Litchfield. And so she went into the hospital and my wife had nothing but glowing things to say
Good.
good.
about her experience at the urgent care.
It's good to hear
For her
commissioners
affected
coming to
toes.
Meeker County.
So, you know, it'd be nice, yeah. So there you go. It was one of those things.
That'll change your
that-
whll medical care direction.
Yeah, who knows?
Good,
Who knows? So,
good to know.
Prognosis, they're not gonna remove it or anything, are they?
well,
No,
well, this
HIPAA
salve
laws
she
here
was
now,
using, it's
HIPAA.
all good.
I know.
You know, it's all right.
We were doing good in this meeting, we don't reckon now. It's-
Things,
Thank you. That's
Yep.
all I've got.
Okay.
Well, I've had kind of a busy couple of weeks here. Quite a few attend the AMC legislative updates. You know, there's been a lot of conversation about various parts of the budget. Been in conversation with Representative Gilman quite often, weekly for sure. They kind of have I'm gonna use a handshake agreement on the HHS budget, which is a big piece of county impacts this session. Andrew could probably walk us through some of them details. We had a conversation yesterday, what it's looking like. None of that is inked yet, obviously, because they haven't called the special session, but it gives us a little better target. Also had, then we had our work session and Grove City Care, their new vehicle is working out good there to get, some of their residents to and from appointments and picking up medications and different things like that. Budgetarily wise, their DHS grant that they operate off, that's their big grant, that's been approved for another 2 years. So they got that behind them, so things are going good there. Then we had the strategic planning last week at the hospital, which we talked about in depth. As I mentioned earlier, yesterday I was in Lake City at the District 9 district meeting for AMC. And then last night, when I got home, I went to XL Energy power line meeting in Watkins, which is landowner driven, is the way I'll put it. And sat in and listened to them, basically just educating landowners. I wasn't able to stay for the whole thing because I had to get back, but there's a pretty good group in attendance there. One thing I was wondering is, it's probably, I think it would be wise for us as a board to maybe have XL in to kind of give us an update, since Public Utilities Commission has approved the route, and I think it's been beneficial. I think the public is, like in my area anyway, which I got most of it, I guess, so the interest is there, so I think it's good to have them in and kind of keep us, if the least we can do is try and inform the public what the plan, what it looks like. Okay, now it's approved, what are the next steps and stuff, so, keep us going that way. And other than that, yeah, I'll be going to a few of the district meetings, probably 4 out of the 10. For AMC, I'll be up in Fergus this Friday for that area. And then, we're gonna have a little preliminary HHS budget meeting after we're done here this week. Me and Cheryl and Andrew, so. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot.
Okay, thank you. After our last commissioner meeting, we had a suicide prevention and MAP meeting. And they had worked very hard to get the billboards set up and so forth. And then I think a couple of days later, we got a notice from Tina saying that they have ones that we are required to use, or it affected funding, right?
We have to use pre-approved images.
Yes.
We could get images approved, but it delays things, and so we're using pre-approved images.
So the ones that we had picked out, it was just easier to use the pre-approved messaging boards. So, following day, I saw Steve at the Meeker Co-op, and it's not a commissioner event, but a lot of those folks sit on boards of ours. Jesse Turk sits on the Planning Commission. Jerry Wozniak sits on RAIS. And I was approached by several of them thanking us for coming and supporting them. And
Yeah,
And-
Steve Cosbab and
Yeah.
Luke, I think, with all this transmission line and different energy conversations, I mean, and we met with XL, you know, or with Meeker, just cause what's their role in all this? You know, XL Energy is kinda the big kid on the block, but we gotta think of our local co-ops too and how that affects them and how they fit into the picture, so.
And they thanked us for the support for their vibrant projects and in times that we've given them letters supporting those projects. So, I didn't get to eat the pork chop though, cause I was already ate when we got there. So I don't know how it was, but Steve was standing in
I
line
did
for,
have a pork, they were good,
so.
pork chop on a stick.
So then, the following night, had a UCAP meeting. And Debbie Brent shared something with us. In the bill coming through Congress, would eliminate the energy assistance. And so she had some numbers of how that affects the folks in Meeker County. Now, remember, she made this very clear. We're not telling you we're coming to you for money or anything like that. That's not it. She just wanted us to know what the cost effect was and what HHS might be hearing from some of their folks. So for primary heat, last year it was $311,000, almost $312,000. And that was for 724 households. Households that were in crisis and needed immediate money, that was $71,000. And then for emergency heating repairs in our county, they paid out almost $29,000, which would be, a lot of that would go to our local contractors. But if that goes away, those might be some of the things our social service workers hear that folks are short on. Like I said, Deb said, we're not asking for money. That's not what, she just wanted to give us a little bit of a heads up on that.
So what is, it's not in stone, it's going away. This is just another,
It's another one of the proposals, yeah, but it was
It's in the bill that the House approved.
yes, it's in that bill.
so are they actually doing away with it, or are they putting some conditions on it?
She said it was going
This is
away.
what I hear, like I heard somebody on TV the other night say they're taking away all the Medicaid. Not true, that's not true. They're asking some people to work, which I'm sorry, but I'm all for that if you're able. So I get every board meeting I go to, no matter where it is, we're gonna get this, that, and the other thing, and the truth is, we don't know what we're getting. Right? So
But-
I would be hard pressed to make up that kind of money myself, so.
Mr. Chair, did she have any information on how many families have taken part in that?
724 households served for the primary heat, 162 for crisis, and 21 on the emergency repairs.
And,
So-
what is the
Perfect.
criteria for that help?
That, I don't have that criteria. I can't sit here and recite the criteria. I don't have that, but that goes right through their energy assistance program at
I know
UCAP.
they give out a lot of energy assistance.
I just wanted to share that with you because I had hard numbers that she said, this is what's happened in the past. And even if the energy assistance continues, it's interesting to know that this is how much help our citizens are getting from this program, so. Anyway,
We don't wanna have that discussion today.
short meeting, remember?
Yeah.
CCT,
I do have something to add
okay.
when you're done.
Strategic plan, yeah, I just was so impressed with his way of doing things. Kept everybody involved, even Phil, the man of many words, had to have some words. But, you know, it was good, and, I know, Beth, you didn't want it to last long, because the first thing you said to me was, you make sure this doesn't go past.
And you said I'd already talked to him about it, so it wasn't just my idea now. Well, they were talking about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm like, there is no way you're gonna keep my attention. But he may have, you know, as it turned out.
So then we had, Beth has already discussed the CHB. Yesterday in Morris at CPT, really, other than a demonstration of the new tax program, kind of an uneventful meeting from the standpoint, we didn't really have any, kind of like our agenda, there was no real meat and potatoes. And we meet again in July as a full board, and I offered the full board, I said, do we want to have a discussion about maybe not having our meeting in July? And not one person spoke. And I thought for sure they would wanna pass on a meeting in July, you know? We have some people that drive 3 hours to get there. You know, and then when we have an agenda that's short,
Exactly.
it's hard to justify for them to make that drive, so. That is all I have, and Steve, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, a couple things. You know, one thing that was talked about yesterday down in District 9 was the snowmobile trails, Brandy. And they must be having troubles with insurance, like the DNR and the Snowmobile Association technically has the agreement, but the county board needs to approve it, and I know we approve them annually or whatever. But there must be a little squirmish in there about liability. Is the county on the hook then for a liability? And there's been some discussion of the county board needs to stay out of that. Have you heard anything? Cause they said the County Attorneys Association had made some comments on this too, so I was gonna bring that one up.
Not that I've heard, but I can reach out to our executive director and see if maybe he's the one having those conversations.
Okay,
But, the auditor is usually the one that would run it through their program.
okay.
we're just a pass-through, right?
And the many comments that I've made is that this is a state agreement, and
Right,
so there's
right.
not really a lot we do.
Yeah, but there must be there's a concern in there, and I just thought I'd bring that up, so we check our boxes, if you will, but, and then the other thing that was talked about there's a sanctuary county list, which was big in the news last week in the state, and there's been some controversy on that too, because, in January, they came out with 10 sanctuary county lists, or 10 counties on the sanctuary county list. And now in May, they came out with a new list, and 2 of the originals dropped off.
Cowards.
20. There's 20 counties on the list now, and most of the counties have no idea
Why they're on it?
why they're on it or how they got on it. In Dakota, Mike Slavic is their president, he said, and we have no idea how we got off it, or how we got on it in the first place, or how we got off
Interesting.
it. But a lot of it, I think, is tied to, verbiage, you know,
What's the list on?
Homeland Security.
The first one was put out by the American Legal Fund or something. So Stephen Miller is one of the top aides to President Trump. It was a fund that he had set up, but he's a huge immigration advocate. And so he was targeting these communities that were quote unquote sanctuary communities, cities and counties across the country. And then that got rolled into the Department of Homeland Security now. So, but I believe it's gone. I heard yesterday that it was gone.
Okay. So that was an interesting conversation anyway, because there's a few counties down in that area that were on the list, and
It's funny.
nobody knew how they got on.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
I will plan to attend the District 5 spring meeting in Wells. Yep,
Okay.
okay.
Well, is there any other business to come before us today? Hearing none, I will call adjournment at 9 o'clock.
That might be the record.